tree?
This tree right here, yes. So in 1996, this tree had some cable and brace hardware put into it to keep the tree here. There's a section that had peeled off and actually landed on top of these homes here, and it was all removed and all that kind of stuff. And there was hopes that the tree could be retained because it's a nice large tree at the time, and they wanted to keep it. So this tree here at this junction, you can see where it splits up. There is hardware that goes through the tree. There's actually rods that we put there to try to hold it together for longer and extend the life of it. And up top, there's actual, we use aircraft cables that actually hold the sections together to kind of hold them in place so they don't move too much. Sorry?
Cable, is that a cable right there that I see?
Yes.
Up there?
Yeah, and
There's
so
the black steel bar you can see, that's the metal bar, and then
Right
there's
there.
2 sets of cabling above that.
Okay.
and
Way up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the ones that not that far up. If you look,
No.
there's
there's one right. See if you see how these two go up and then it comes
Yeah.
this way. There's one
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
There's one up higher
Oh, yeah,
also.
there.
And so the cable and brace system, the intent when we put it in it's there to assist holding the tree together. It's not there as a fail-proof to make sure it stays together. It's to help support it. It's not the only thing that's going to actually keep it in place. And so that was done in 1996. And the metal framework that's in there, the rods, they also fatigue over time. And this section here, the weight on this section is really that way. There's not much supporting wood left on the back side of it here. And so big concern is that the cavity is now gone into the main stem itself. It's also weakened the trunk itself.
Do you know that?
Yes.
Oh.
And you can actually visually see it when you go up with the boom,
They
right?
came with a boom truck.
Yeah.
And visual
And-
inspection from the top
Did
down.
you do a core sample on the track
We use
at all?
we haven't done the resistiograph, but it's by just on dealing with these trees and the fatigue that happens. It's too big of a risk to leave on top of somebody guy's property. So if this fails, the concern is it's going to come down on the house. It's not, if it was to fail in the middle of the park, we're not too concerned where there's no foot traffic and all that kind of stuff. Our fear is that it's going to fail and it's going to land on top of the person's home here. So that's the reason why we have to remove this tree. It's not because we want to remove it, because it's at the stage now, the decay is set in. There's not enough integrity left on this stem itself here, and the cable and brace system again is to assist, not to fully support it, and it's not going to be able to do that.
Is there consideration in just taking that one part off and leaving the main trunk, which
There,
is still pretty straight?
yes, we've thought that through, is to say take it off here and leave the rest of the tree. But again, the rot setting into the main stem of the tree is a big concern too, right? So that's why it's better to remove the whole tree. And then, we also thought about bringing it down in height and just take away, as much as we can. But then you're not really left with a tree.
No.
It's gonna be completely unsightly. And with elms, what they do is when you do that and you bring them down quite a bit, they put up just suckers, right? And then what
They're
happens with
messy.
those things is not so much messy, but they fail later because they're just weak attachments. And elms, from experience, we've done that in the past, they don't hold. So we don't want to be putting back something that's going to continue to fail.
You're sure that rot there that you can see in the left-hand branch has continued on down into into the trunk?
The main trunk itself, yes. We just had a recent incident at Thornton Park. It was actually an oak tree, a massive oak, and it had the same kind of symptoms. A major stem was actually removed to still retain the tree, but you could just imagine the trunk as a pillar, like a pole itself. And so the back end of it, big section had come out, decay had set in, that column had set in. So as the outer part of that pillar was decaying, it just crumbled. It literally just collapsed. There was no visual evidence from the outside. It's gonna be fine. It just let go and just collapsed.
Did you guys want to maybe make certain that whole trunk is actually rotten at the junction there, so that as a column it wouldn't hold what would remain of the tree if you cut off that left-hand branch?
It's one of those things. We can do that as an exercise. It doesn't. We can definitely do that to say maybe
Because
confirm.
Yeah,
we
but
can
you're
definitely
feeling
do that
certain by
kind of stuff.
experience, but you haven't confirmed it. You wouldn't know until you cut the thing down.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no harm in doing that. We can do that. We use a resistiograph. It's a tool that it does the same thing. You drill in. It does give you a printout, a map out of what's the outer shell is left like that. We can definitely do something like that just to.
Two things with that tree, it seems to me, is if you took off the branch on the left, which is the one I think you were talking about that would likely fall in the house, that was gone. Then what remains of the tree then is not only quite nice looking, but it's the portion of the tree that probably would not fall on the house, right? It's not balanced in such a way as to fall on the house.
It's not going to fall from the top down. It would collapse down where the rod is, right?
If the rod is significant enough for that to happen.
And so the tree, as a tree establishes itself over time, it gets adjusted or gets used to the kind of like the environment's in. So this is an area that kind of is accustomed to winds and all that kind of stuff. So when you take off substantial sections of a tree, it worked as one in the past. So everything kind of worked together. So you'll notice on really windy events, you'll see the canopy moving quite a bit. It's quite dramatic, quite drastic. But if you look at the column itself, you'll find that usually there's not much happening as it dissipates into the ground because it all kind of takes the momentum, everything kind of shifts. There's a reason for it to move. It's not rigid, because if it was rigid, it would start peeling away and section break. So the more you take off of it, you're taking away its ability of how it functioned to survive kind of in this environment with the winds and all that. So we consider those kind of things also. It's not just if we take a big section out and leave just parts of it, so and the concern is, again, it's kind of where the trunk is and the rod setting in and what's left. But what we can do just to make sure, to prove that, there is some structural integrity that we're concerned about, we can do the resistograph.
And what if you found there was structural integrity in the column there to the right of the rot that we can see? What would you do then?
Well, if there was that verifies it, we'd retain it. We're not here to remove trees for the sake of removing trees, right?
Yeah.
No.
So we can just
do that.
back it up a little bit, so that and Amit is our city arborist, who has been here numerous years, and I'm director of parks, and I was manager of urban forestry for a while. So we have 350,000 park trees, approximately 150,000 street trees. So it's not new for us. So there's two considerations for me. Number one is public safety. And when we were called on this one, we were called by a local resident who I think experienced the original break. And then when this came up, they were concerned that during these winds, and I guess maybe possibly because of all the tornado and hurricane action, that they were alerted. They thought, this is a pretty exposed tree. So when the crew came out, looked at the superintendent, determined that this probably should come out, and we do have a problem at Kits where we lost a big horse chestnut not long ago, a couple years ago. People were trapped on it. So our job is not to remove trees. Our job is to plant trees and to maintain the health of the city urban forest. There are times, unfortunately, that we have to take out trees. We don't like to. That's not our job. As far as I'm concerned, we like to plant them and look after them. But everything has a life expectancy, and when there's a scar on a tree like that, and over years now, that's been maybe water and things have been getting in there. I think that's probably part of the reason you'll see a bit of that going into the core. If we don't, to your point, if we take that off, and to Amit's point, if that tree now all this weight, you can imagine how much weight's here, is now on this side, we'd probably have to lighten that load a little bit. So we could do that, and it's going to probably inevitably come out at some point. But if there's an opportunity to save part of that tree, we gladly do that. But how much of a tree you'll have left, we will take it down to where we feel the tree is safe, and that means taking it down to the ground. We'll do that. If we don't have to do that, we won't do it. But that's basically what's happening for us.
So assuming that the tree's coming down, how are you moving forward? Are you going to remove the stump and replant something?
Yes.
Okay.
What would you replant?
It'd be with a large Well, elms. We have Brandon elms. We'd look at it, and it makes sense to put an elm back in here. We wouldn't put it as close to, say, the property. It may be more of in this area here, so we're not creating a problem for their property down the road for roots and all that. The other consideration we do have to do is, removing that section, doing the core. Looking at the shell itself. We also have to consider that cable and brace system is actually held the whole tree up. It's not just holding the section on that side down. So, over time now, it's been over 20 years now, this cable brace system has actually worked together. So if we remove that, we still have to factor in what impact is it going to have on the section that's left.
It
Right?
could snap
The
off.
physics
As soon as you take
changes.
that piece off, that thing could snap. This whole section could just go bang and crack and snap off.
Yeah.
So that's how the potential. I hope that's not the case. And to your point, if that rot ends right there, and that piece is nice and strong and healthy, that should not be a problem.
And so,
But there is that
That's what I
possibility.
was wondering.
Yeah.
and the cable, and also if you look at a tree that actually has the hardware in it, in the summertime, in the spring, the foliage comes out, you will notice that the wire itself will have a lot more tension on it because now there's weight on it. It kind of goes apart. In the fall, when everything is now gone, it should kind of come back, so that there's actually some movement in the line itself, right? We have noticed that there is no more of that. It's always strung, right? It's always got tension on it. So because
It's
you know
carrying.
it's fatiguing, right? So we'll look at it. But what we'll do is we'll do the core, we'll do the resistograph and see where we're at. We'll also evaluate the wires and tension on and see if it's realistic to retain it. But at the end of the day, I mean, my goal is to retain all viable trees. But if it poses risk or hazard to public or property, we always have to look at considering remove it. Yeah. So
And how will you share that?
Well, when Amit does it,
Yeah.
I mean, we have an email list now.
what we'll do is we'll post it. We can actually post the results here. Because I
perfect.
wouldn't know who the people would be involved, but
Yeah.
we could
We have a
definitely leave it
website.
here.
Yeah, if you give us that, we can fire it out
you
there.
guys have a website.
Do you guys have a
the city
website? Is it
website.
on there, like a news on the website, or is it
We could
a
do
place
that,
you
but
do
I
it?
think the
That
easiest
would
way
be
is actually
the
on
best.
site.
Yeah.
Because you know what, the people that
More information,
Use the
more
area.
people.
We can
Probably
give you,
easier.
and you can also just send an email even to Amit, and we can share it with you, and you can spread it to whoever you like. if
you have
want it
mine,
that
right?
way.
You have my email.
Yes.
Yes. So then
And
I can definitely
I'm
email
posting it on
timeline
Facebook
on that,
and
you think, for you
Well,
guys?
we're going to take it down this week. We will start next week. We have to bring a special lift in to take that process. We can't bring a big boom truck in because of the way the tree is situated and the way the street is.
Yeah.
So we have a spider. It's a spider lift that's coming in.
It's just a large
Large lift. And again, we don't want to.
But I meant as far as examining the core.
next week.
We'll do that before we take anything down.
Yeah. We don't. I do not want to risk delaying things. So we'll can do that next week.
You were talking about taking it down, so and your concern is largely safety.
Yes.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
I mean, the liability risk is
And
with the city.
the thing that you mentioned particularly was the possibility of part of the tree falling on the property there.
Yes.
That or somebody sitting here, like just us standing here right now.
Even that?
There's the potential.
Because of course, as you said, how many streets? I mean, with so many trees, any one of them could possibly fall over
any
in
time.
a windstorm.
We have, even without a windstorm, we've had
It's always
on a
risk
perfectly calm day,
management.
we've had trees fall.
Yeah.
That's just the life of a tree.
Yeah.
And the residents here, just to be fair, none of them here are saying remove this tree. They're not saying this tree's got to go. One of the residents here had questions. They said, hey, is this safe? Right? I mean, they have questions. I just recently talked to the one at the very end. Same thing. They're not proponents of just removing the tree for the sake of removing. They've actually enjoyed this tree to be here too. So it's not, there's no drivers. I mean, there was, I think, some mention about the real estate across the street.
That we did wonder about
No.
because of the fact that place has been sold, now split into lots.
Yes.
And taking down that tree certainly provides a lot more view
So
opportunity.
just on
for whatever
record,
is built there.
there has been no conversation with that developer coming to Parks about this tree whatsoever. So there is none of that. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Amit, I think we've all enjoyed this tree, and that's why we're here today.
Yes.
And just
No
concerned
kidding.
that it's not being done for any ulterior motives, like
I'm
that
enjoying it
development.
today.
Absolutely.
It's a wonder. It's a nice tree. We're
And
not
we
disagreeing
all
with
look
that,
up
right?
for that Eagles, right? We all look up
That's
for the Eagle.
that's right.
An education question. So when that comes down, do you guys ever leave some of it lying around so people can kind of see it and what it looked like for a while, or that sort of thing? Like
What you mean?
a
Hey, we can
part
all
of the
take a piece
stump
of the
or-
tree.
And not forever.
Coffee
Not
tables.
forever, but just to have it out for a while, or is that
Well,
something you ever consider?
our concern sometimes is
Yeah, maybe some artists would just right. Let them have it.
we do that for people. Sometimes the location of where it is, we don't want to be leaving things that potentially could be rolled
Yes.
down hills or things of that nature. Trust me.
Turned
if
into
we-
Yeah,
firewood
ABC
for down
engineers.
here.
Yeah, and so we want to make sure it's also usually left safe and clean, because
enough.
that's also
Yeah.
part of it.
Alright.
But if there's any interest in somebody wanting some wood and all that kind of stuff, that's not a problem. No, that's not a problem at all. So how about I will circle back and I will email yourself with the information. Once we have it, we'll also put a signage and post it here also of the findings, and then we'll have, on that will be with a set schedule on when the work would commence or not. How's that?
That would be
So,
awesome.
Amit,
Thank you for your
time
time.
and
No.
education
No,
today.
thank you.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
meeting
you.
you. Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Thank you.
And we have big maples in front of our house, so if we have any questions, we know where
Thank
to
you.
call, right?
Yes.